All right, welcome back, everybody. Game one in the books here. What a win from Team Liquid Academy, bringing it back. Josh, I know you're excited. You're wearing the blue. Tim, yeah, you still got the TL jersey behind you. I was wondering maybe if that would like kind of get more pronounced in the foreground throughout the series or not. But it wasn't necessarily the cleanest of victories. It was a win though, and we take those after a crazy Nexus-based defense, a Baron fight. But for the beginning of the game, Joshi, we were expecting this to be a 100 Thieves Academy win. I mean, specifically off of Ryoma's play, as we do have a replay package to pull up, highlighting everything he was getting done. It looked doomed for TL.
It looked pretty darn bad, right? This pocket pick from Ryoma is not something he's played since the summer of Season 10. It's been a whole year since we last saw him bring this out, and before that, there was like another year before he had played it at all, and every single time it felt like Harry and Ryoma interacted, it was resulting in a kill for Ryoma, and he got super accelerated off of some of these early plays where he's able to lock down these individual members, blow them up, and he does his best lethality silent impression. Somebody walks into a bush, they press one button, suddenly all of their HP is gone, and this happens multiple times.
His performance in the solo lane and then also in the side lanes throughout the game, impeccable. I think that Ryoma was really like a big threat from 100 Thieves throughout. Early on, Tenacity was struggling a little bit, but like Ryoma is what got them into the game to begin with them. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Well,
I'm not quite sure if production was able to hear all that, Tim. It sounded great, though. Yeah,
I agree. I agree with everything you said, right? When you're that early with a Baron, it's really hard to play around, but when you're also that fed, it becomes way more possible for them to do, and it put them in such a dominating position across the board. And, you know, to Team Liquid's credit, I feel like that's a pick that they could not have been prepared for, right? We said that they haven't seen it in forever. It's not something that's really popular elsewhere, and it gave the 100 Thieves a lot of advantage to play with. Unfortunately, as we've already started seeing, it wasn't enough to actually secure them a victory.
Yeah, exactly. Eventually, the Nocturne. These plays from Armeo, back to back to back throughout the game, were constantly catching people in the side lanes. And I think Ayla, somebody that you were highlighting in the pregame, Tim, as we see this crazy base defense, somebody that really stepped up.
Yeah, I think, Armeo was definitely a big part of it with, every few minutes he seemed to use his ult, create some kind of a pick, keep Team Liquid in the game and keep some gold flowing their way. And then Ayla with some huge engages. I think he was trying really hard to attack that mid lane matchup. I think that was part of TL's game plan, looking at Ryoma as like, hey, this seems to be the primary carry on their side. But then the game really pivoted on that Baron that we just saw, where 100 Thieves, they had all the tools to say, oh, you want to force Baron? Well, we're going to punish that. We'll drop the Gangplank ult. We'll engage with the Leona. We're just way ahead of you, so we're just going to punish it. But they were so slow executing that Baron contest. And then, even then, they, not much later, they were this close to still winning the game anyways. But Ayla does some great stalling work. Armeo, Jan comes back up and just wasn't to be.
Can be auto-attacking Alistair a few too many times right there, I think. But, I mean, who knows if that would have made the difference. It's so hard to tell in those kinds of situations. But because Team Liquid hold on, it's just pick after pick. Again, still these side lanes. And then eventually they find these big team fight wins. The Paranoia did such a good job of enabling this Kennen. Because, Josh, you had highlighted from Pick and Ban, the Tristana kind of shuts down Kennen, because you can just buster shot the Kennen away, right?
It really does. And honestly, I really like the 100 Thieves draft in general, right? The Cassiopeia secret pick coming out, the fact that they see the Kennen and instantly pick up the Tristana, it feels like a very prepared pick of like, hey, if we see this, we're going to pick up this champion as well. And it really puts a lot of questions in the mind towards Team Liquid on, are we going to be able to pick Kennen again without banning the Tristana? Because there are so many things that they're going to have to focus on. But the other thing that I feel like we have to touch on a little bit is this is pretty much how their other matchups have gone. It started off with 100 Thieves winning a lot of the laning interactions. They were the ones who were getting a lot of the early advantages, and then in the mid game, things turn on their head where Team Liquid are the ones who wake up, and suddenly they take this large goal deficit that they have and turn it into a win anyway.
Team Liquid Academy have a knack for, in the late games, just putting it together. And 100 Thieves Academy, when they get those early leads, that's when they can close out those games. They usually struggle more when they don't get those early leads. So it seemed like they were set for success, but we got both styles clashing against each other, and it is Team Liquid Academy coming out ahead. So Tim, I'm going to send this to you next, as I'm hearing that we're getting ready for pick and ban shortly. If you are 100 Thieves Academy, what are you identifying as something either in pick and ban or just in-game decision-making that you need to fix going into this game too, to make sure that you can actually turn those early leads into a substantial victory?
I think it's just settling down a little bit. I think 100 Thieves had a comp that wanted to receive engages, wanted to play control with the Casio, the Gangplank, the Tristana, all this disengage and zone control. But they tried to end the game a little bit too quickly in some cases. You know, that Baron defense was a bit of an individual execution failure with Ryoma stepping up and trying to like land the final blow, and he got kicked into the fountain, right? Just settle down a little bit. Ironically, they were too slow on the Baron contest instead of going too fast in some cases, but like just keep your mind on what does our comp do? How does our comp win and lose? And just keep that more at the forefront of their minds, I think.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you're putting that in the situation of calming down, because while I think that that's one way to put at it, there's also a proactivity that you need with this composition, right? You have to be the ones at the Baron or the Dragons first, right? If you need them to come into you, you can't be the ones who are coming into the Baron after it's already being taken, because they didn't have like great poke tools, right? They have like Gangplank ultimate and maybe some errant barrels and, you know, Cassiopeia Q here and there, but that's really all they had to get other people off of an objective. And they have Leona to go for an engage, but it's hard for Leona to engage when everybody else is going to struggle to keep up with you. So, you know, there's calming down, but also, you know, you need to be in places first in order to get this composition to work.
And to carry that just one step further, I think maybe grouping up as 5 on the objectives, and I know they had a comp, TL had a comp that would want to jump you in a pit with the Cannonball and so on, but side laning the Gangplank and grouping as 4 elsewhere exposed you to the Nocturne, which I think was maybe even a little worse. So, you know, get your win conditions a little more clear going in and keep your focus on that.
I think that we can say that 100 Thieves Academy, their draft in a vacuum, it works very well, but that Nocturne from Team Liquid Academy definitely gave them some headaches, so maybe even just consider taking that off the table. Sure. Who knows if that's something that Team Liquid Academy is very comfortable with. We also noticed a strange thing that Team Liquid Academy banned Ziggs on blue side, so clearly they're not opting into that, and we will get Team Liquid Academy on blue side again here for game 2, I do believe. Yeah, or no, actually no, 100 Thieves Academy did choose blue side, so they are swapping. So this does mean that maybe 100 Thieves Academy can swap things up with their draft as well. But Josh, I'm going to give it back to you as we still haven't gotten confirmation on pick and ban yet. Let's talk about it from Team Liquid Academy side. They just picked up the win. How are they going to make sure that they can get that second one here? Either anything that they need to improve on or just double down on?
I feel like the biggest thing, you know, we did see that they came out with a victory anyway, but it felt like some of their early game communication was a little bit lacking. Harry didn't feel super confident in how he was actually going to play the mid lane 1v1 despite being up in CS anyway, and we saw the dive at the very beginning when Ayla roamed up into the mid lane. It didn't look as though Ayla was expecting Harry to go for that dive, and in the bottom lane they also tried to dive the Tristana, and Yun just walked through a Gangplank ult and turret and didn't do any more damage afterwards. There's a little bit of communication that was off that I feel could have really saved a couple of these plays. And honestly, if they can do that and just not go into the mid game with a large deficit, I think that they've already shown that they have the individual prowess necessary to win these games even with that deficit. So if they don't have one, should be easy, right?
Right? Simple, exactly. Tim, anything to add real quick before we get into pick and ban?
No, I just want to see how the draft switch up on the other side of the map, and whether the Ziggs is going to be a blue side ban or a red side first, maybe a first pick. Let's find out.
All right, well, we'll see as we are getting ready to send it over to pick and ban. Crumb said it himself, a confidence builder from that first game from Team Liquid Academy. Let's see if they can keep that momentum going. So, Deserix, Crumbs, take it away.
Thank you very much, Kangas, and welcome back. 100 Thieves Academy versus Team Liquid Academy, game number 1. Woo! Team Liquid definitely able to bring that one back. Now let's see if 100 Thieves can respond as they are on blue side.
Yeah, okay. Getting rid of Jenkins' Kennen. Now, it's wild to me that you're actually banning the Kennen, because it felt like it was the worst performer out of the picks that TL had. I think everybody else had some really standout plays, but more often than not, I'm thinking of Kennen's flanks where he actually wasn't able to get an ultimate, whether it was Harry killing him or rather Ryoma killing him twice, just having only a single target with Jenkins. But I think this might just mean that the laning phase, they want to put Jenkins in something that's going to be a little bit less comfortable for him. So maybe they want to play more towards the top side of the map and ensure that you have a viable target to gank. Because Kennen is a pretty tough champion to start punishing in the side lanes. He's very slippery, especially at level 6. So maybe now 100 Thieves wants to not only break apart what Team Liquid has had in the first game by banning away the Kennen and taking the lead, but also perhaps punishing Jenkins.
And taking the lead is going to be exciting if you're a 100 Thieves fan, because Ken V does have that aggro style who does play very, very fast-paced. That's if it does go over to Ken V. But of course, you can have it in the hands of Ryoma and Tenacity over in those solo lanes as well. Team Liquid, however, are responding by grabbing the Aphelios. Given that Varus is banned, it's one of the picks that they go secondary right after. If it isn't the Callista, it's going to be the Aphelios, as well as the LeBlanc locked in for Team Liquid Academy.
Very interesting to see the Aphelios and the LeBlanc pairing, because this now means that the LeBlanc, if she gets priority in her lane, she'll be able to start roaming and helping out the Aphelios and ensuring that he gets to a comfortable spot in the mid game that way, as opposed to just playing it safe, the likes of a Thresh, who is no longer available. So normally the pairing that is so common goes down there, but this is Team Liquid just saying, we're going to double down on just making sure that we have so many threats that Aphelios gets healed that way, while 100 Thieves is just going to play sort of a pseudo-global comp here, having the Rise, Relmorph, the Ziggs ultimate. They're going to be able to answer side lanes really effectively that way and have a ton of burst damage, especially when you consider that the Ziggs will go into the bottom lane and that you can put the Lee in the jungle or top, meaning that you still can add one more major damage threat to this comp.
It's a little interesting to me to see the Syndra ban over the Ziggs ban. I know it's something that's become more popular. Syndra has kind of become that substitute for the Ziggs when you do have it in the bot lane, plus the flexibility to throw it in the mid lane if you want. But instead, just going to hand over the Ziggs and let Luger play that. It's something that Luger's very, very happy to play if he's ever able to get his hands on it.
I think you banned the Syndra because you're probably more worried about the Syndra being flexed into the mid lane than going into the bot lane. And that's what you really are trying to avoid, because Syndra into the LeBlanc can be a skill matchup that can be pretty tough. So I think that is the best way to just ensure that you get a good LeBlanc matchup.
All right, so getting to the second phase of the draft, really focusing the support pool is going to be Team Liquid Academy. They go after Poom, taking away his hard engagers, Leona and Alistair off the map. 100 Thieves, they don't want to deal with Amreo's shenanigans again with that Nocturne Paranoia. That ban comes out. One more ban to come through. One of the things that I did hear from 100 Thieves is they do have that kind of thing that we were talking about with the two-way coach. As Trundle does get banned, Armeo does play a lot of Trundle in that supportive role. And that is Reapered, and how he brings a lot from the LCS over to their Academy roster as well. He develops a lot of systems to make sure they maintain that practice both on the draft and the scrimming aspect.
I think that's one of the most quoted coaches that has been helping out players in Reaper. So being a player himself is no stranger to knowing what players themselves would need. So I like hearing that, especially from, I think our top teams end up having a lot more connection between the LCS and Academy, ensuring that the information gets shared, because as long as both sides are winning, the whole organization should benefit. You have better scrim partners, you can be stealthy about what you're trying to be playing, although Team Liquid will not be stealthy at all about their jungler pick. The Olaf is a really common one for Armeo, and it is all about just brute forcing the enemy down. Now, normally I would like this pick into the likes of, say, a Rise, because you can run him down. You're not going to get Rune Prison, and it does synergize decently with the LeBlanc. But I think Ryoma has options to outplay this with the phase rush and with the passive speed of the Rise. So I don't think that the Olaf into Rise is as straightforward as it might seem. So I still think that there's opportunity for the mid 2v2 to go in the way of this.
Well, you still are looking for a lot of early neutral objective control. You do get that quite a bit when you do have Olaf, just from that ability of being inherently a good duelist. You like to fight. The lower you get, the more lifesteal and attack speed you get. So you do have that going for you if you are Team Liquid Academy, but this is just really scraping around a little bit as Team Liquid are going to round out their composition by taking one of the split push queens in Camille.
Wow. Now, this is a pick that has been surging in priority. I mean, before it was like, oh, yeah, last pick Camille. Some teams are first picking Camille now, right? You can run away with the Ignite in the top lane, which is really scary how mobile she is. And it gives you a lot of kill pressure. So this pick now means that Team Liquid is all about 1-3-1. They can keep Aphelios, Nautilus, and Olaf in the mid lane while the LeBlanc and the Camille start dominating sides. And together, they're really good at helping each other out. This is a really important aspect of this 1-3-1. Camille can go gank the LeBlanc lane, and it's going to have an almost guaranteed chance for a kill, while the LeBlanc going to the Camille does the same thing. So Team Liquid doubling down with what worked in the last game, which was split pushing with the Nocturne, putting more champions in that direction by picking the Camille, while 100 Thieves is keeping the team fighting aspect, but giving themselves a bit more options to engage, while at the same time picking things that are, I think, a little bit more common in the global meta, like the Rise and the Ziggs.
While I'm okay with Team Liquid throwing back a very similar condition to what they had in game number 1, this all really depends on, are they going to end up in a situation like they did in game number 1 where they were so far behind? They're not going to have those tools like they did in the last game where they were able to utilize the Paranoia on the Jenkins flank with the cannon. So they can't afford to fall as behind as they did like we saw in that first game.
Yeah, well, I think a big part of that did come down to the hairy misplays in the mid lane, as well as Ayla roaming up there. So that'll have to be a really important aspect to see what goes down if we're going to get some solo kills in the mid lane, because if that happens, then yeah, there's really not going to be much chance to play the style. You're just going to have to deal with a Rise that will be able to contest the side lanes and 1v1 and maybe even 1v2, because that is one of the strengths that Rise has as well. Right? He can team fight, but he can play side lanes very effectively. So dictating the pace of mid can be really important for determining what's going to happen in the mid game when both teams are trying to dominate the sides.
Oh, and with this composition drafted by 100 Thieves, it's one of the most 100 Thieves compositions I could really think of. You have Tenacity over on the carry top laner, Envy, high momentum, high tempo jungler being on the Lee Sin, Ryoma, control mage with Rise. This is a lot of comfort for 100 Thieves.
And comfort is the right answer to losing a game like you just did, because you really need you need a pick me up. You need something that says, all right, let's just make sure that we execute on what we think is our best chance of winning. So doubling down on this should give 100 Thieves the confidence to better win, or actually seal the deal, because they were really close to winning that last game.
Nice dodge there from Jan, but now the Ignite has been popped onto him. Bouncing Bomb will not land on him, so Jan's going to end up lower than Luger was in that exchange.
Yeah, that's started. Oh, nice flash.
And Flash will be burnt out of Luger. Ayla, he's starting up with that early aggression. We saw that aggression in game number 1, already showing signs of it in this game number 2.
Good emote game as well, then spamming the scared face. And this just happens because when you don't have heal, you really can't take these 2v2. So Team Liquid is just looking to be as aggressive as possible in this lane, trying to get Luger to use that teleport and maybe stay low enough to go for a dive. So it's them taking advantage of the summoner spells, and it'll be later when Luger can really get value out of his own TP when he's holding it down in the mid lane, just farming away.
This is always one of the more frustrating things to go against, a Gangplank. Bling and melee. Gangplank, of course, does scale up quite a bit, but people forget it's level 1. It's quite punishing to have to deal with when you have all those parlays popping in your face and you just shove in towards the tower like that.
It's a really annoying champion to deal with here, and the reason why Camille gets picked is not so much to survive this, but rather to chain it with ganks. You need to have Armeo, you need to have Harry join up because you have great setup. So that is the interest in Jenkins' pick here. It's unlikely that Tenacity will expose himself to die to an Ignite, because he's only really getting harassed by the W from Jenkins, the little tactical sweep. So he just needs to find all-ins for Jenkins. And what better way to find an all-in than when your jungler is right?
Might have some volatility, because junglers are right in the mid lane right now. Sonic Wave goes out, goes for the Resonating Strike, goes after Harry, will not find it. Armeo starting to get low, and so is Harry. Ryoma on the retreat Junglers meet in the mid lane, but no one gonna fall.
Yeah, but now Olaf is leaving the lane, which means that Kenvi and Ryoma can shove out. And this will get Ryoma a recall. Now, the trade of Flash for Ghost, super worthwhile. That means that Armeo can always revisit this lane. His cooldown will be back up. And now there's an avenue for Team Liquid to punish again. This is what we saw in the first game. When summoners were burnt around the mid lane, everybody could smell blood in the water, and we're constantly looking for plays to make it out. With Rise not having Flash up, this means that a champ like the Nautilus, LeBlanc with Flash, all it takes is Flash Chain, and well, that's an easy kill.
And Ayla loves to go all over the map, likes to take that world tour of the Rift. So expect him to start showing in these other lanes. We can already see that right now as he is making the first move. Headed over towards that top side jungle, really just spotting out what's going on before he makes his next.
You gotta play that way as a support. And I think you're taking notes from the legendary 0.4 absence of lane from Core JJ, quoted as one of the best supports in the world, in the league, the LCS. So he knows that as long as Yeon doesn't die, well, he can just get away with standing in this brush and waiting. And it's a good timing here, too, because the minion wave is pushing out. Oh, look at him.
Over the wall, but not gonna find the hook. Appreciate the effort, though.
Well, that's twice he's tried this game, right? Twice does he burn Flash to try to play make it to the mid lane, and showed his hand, and he had to go right there because Jenkins was also flanking, so had that hook connected. It's a freebie, an absolutely guaranteed kill. But now he'll get to join up with Armeo, try to clear out vision in the river. But with Poom here, there's no chance that they'll actually find this avenue against Ryoma again. So they'll just back off. He'll get a quick Targon's proc off of his Dematerializer. But they're going to punish him.
Ooh, going right after Ayla. Harry will be waiting in the wings. Now Ayla getting focused down. Cannon Barrage goes out first. Blood goes over to 100 Thieves.
You know, this is a very common thing that happens to supports. They think they can get away with just chilling in the river all game long. In vision, mind you, and not be punished. But he's wiser than that. They see that Ayla is leaving, and they know that Kenvi's on the way, so they can easily collapse onto him after having burned his Flash so obviously in the face of 100 Thieves. So it's a really good punishment that catches out the Nautilus, but now Poom will be able to just get out. And despite them burning so much to kill Ayla, since they have to retreat, it means that TL can just get this dragon.
Yeah, you have Kenvi over on the top side, and Poom's gonna walk into this one. Get shot up. One more auto could finish him off. The flash forward, and Jan will find it. Able to grab his first kill of the game.
Man, I love how bloodthirsty Team Liquid is this game. They're just constantly looking for plays to make, and they catch up Poom, get his flash. You really would have loved to have that flash for an aggressive play. Jenkins to 6.
Yeah, hey, you're talking about bloodthirsty. Jenkins definitely smells it over towards his topside jungle. Tries to hunt down. Speaking of the hunt, going on to Ryoma. Ryoma's going to stay alive. He lives thanks to that flask. He is going to be able to see another day. Can be headed over towards the mid lane to make sure he's not in that much more trouble.
Harry has flash. Maybe he can try to flash distortion onto Ryoma, and he has to mark him. Ooh, missing.
Ooh, missing the sonic wave. Here comes the Ragnarok. No way to stop him. Over the wall comes Harry. Gets the electrocute proc, gets the kill. A trade comes in. Ayla for Ryoma. Now Harry trying to find his way out of here. Gonna try and utilize that clone, but
wow,
won't get the sneaky play. A double kill goes over to Kenvi.
That was really slick by Kenvi. That ward hop into the queue, identifying where the clone and the real LeBlanc were, was so clean. And the action just doesn't stop there. They knew that Ryoma was trying to join the fight, that he was very low, so that's why Team Liquid felt like they could go for this, but they don't have vision, and Armeo is so low right now. Despite Lee not having pick, he's still just so dangerously low that he's lucky that the focus went onto the Rise and onto the Nautilus, and that the Q missed. Otherwise, that Olaf was dead. Look at this from Kenvi. This was so cool.
Clean. And you can tell he tried to move the clone in front of the Q at the last second, too.
You're right, because he thought the Q is coming out from this angle. There's just no way to protect yourself from two positions at once with the clone, and so you're just trying to outplay the jungler, but the jungler outplays you, and that's what Kenvi has had going on for him for the beginning and up to now in his career, just mechanically, he's just pretty freaking impressive.
The Ken V Classic Luger. Woo! So close, skin of his teeth. This man survives over in the bot lane. The barrage coming out of Yan, but he's going to need to take a recall. He will have teleport available, so should be able to catch this wave.
Might miss out on the cannon, however, and if he TPs here, they could die. Yeah. So he's TPing to the tier 2 to make sure that the Nautilus doesn't go for it, but a dive topside against Jenkins.
Yeah, Ryoma showing up, going right after Jenkins. Jenkins going to hook shot in, tries to find the ultimatum, is able to get it, but gets taken down by Tenacity in the process. A great little play coming out with the Realm Warp and Ryoma.
So well played there by 100 Thieves. The way they drew the aggro was just having Tenacity started off with the barrels. That way there's no way that Jenkins can dodge it, forcing him to hook shot away from his turret. Now Team Liquid's trying to answer with their own play in the bot lane.
Now looking to find Luger. Yan eats a turret shot. Now Armeo will be able to land the axe. The boom on the Rakan is very slippery, hard to lock down. Team Liquid getting foiled, having to back off.
Good defense by 100 Thieves because they smelled it. They know they're playing weak side, so they have to play far back to ensure that they don't get dove because they already got a big advantage in the top side. What they got top, if they don't die, is going to always be better than anything that TL can get into the bottom lane, which is just a denial of minions, especially when the Ziggs is just going to be farming most of the game, assisting with bombs from really far away. It's not important that he gets far ahead, so they are okay with having this the weak side. And this is just a strategy that Ziggs has seemed to have adopted since he got into the meta. You can just farm the bot wave, be really safe and relevant to the mid to late, and this opens up playmaking in the solo lanes, allowing you to deny a Camille who is so important for this Team Liquid composition. And if the Gangplank can obviously hold her down with items, then it's always going to be a strong matchup to play towards.
I mean, you're going to look at that bottom side, see him down in CS, see him having that 0-0-0 scoreline, but that works well for Luger. This is pretty much the best he could ask for. He just wants to free Mahar, and he just wants to stay safe. Now over on this top side, Envy taking his blue buff, but Team Liquid circling the area like sharks, trying to spot out where 100 Thieves are going to move, but not willing to take any plays, not willing to go for it. Too many members of 100 Thieves occupying the squadron.
I love seeing these teams play weak side effectively and backing off when they know something is happening. I think Tenacity did a great job there, popping a barrel and then just backing off. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll miss the CS. I'll even miss the cannon wave. I just know that I don't need to die because the answer is either die and, yeah, maybe get the cannon wave, but you're giving more gold over to Team Liquid than if you just lose that and then allow your team to back on the map, and now they have priority to make a play. They have the Rift Herald themselves. They can push out the mid wave, and with the Rift Herald, they should be able to decide where they want to strike next. It gets popped into the mid lane. Team Liquid has to respond. They're also trying to rush down Dragon at the same time. 100 Thieves needs to respond.
Yeah, Team Liquid are trying to read the play that's coming out from 100 Thieves. They figured if they can take it first, they can read the play, they can do it before 100 Thieves does, and they do. They grab the Drake, and now they're grabbing 100 Thieves as they take down one in Poom. Harry's clone going over to Ryoma. Ryoma not going to take the bait, but Team Liquid, they get the Drake, they get the kill, they get out.
Team Liquid just was not phased by the Herald being popped in the mid lane. They figured, great, you're popping this in the mid lane, but crucially, you are showing 3 members here. We know that we can rush this down. By the time you pop this, you protect it, and then you collapse to the Dragon. Between White Gun, Aphelios, and the Olaf will take the objective. And this is exactly a position where they want to be as a 1-3-1 composition. Getting these early Dragons will allow them to then forego the next few team fights if they feel like they can't fight them. And so buy more time for Jenkins to be strong, to play the silence effectively for LeBlanc to get the itemization she needs. So this is Team Liquid still faster to the punch than 100 Thieves, despite 100 Thieves seeming to be the ones making the initiative by using the Rift Herald in the mid.
And it's only going to get scarier, especially looking at the mid lane when we look at Harry. You know, he only has 1 kill. He's very close to completing his first item. And for a LeBlanc, every item is pretty much a crucial breakpoint. That damage just keeps scaling and snowballing. She plays that very scary assassin that you always have to watch out for on the flanks, on the roams, on everything. And we're starting to see that right now as Harry is going to start to leave the lane, headed up. Looks like Team Liquid are trying to play around Tenacity.
Yeah, they really want to kill him, but they don't have vision, and they know that he's just backed off. So they'll just drop some control wars. They'll go back to mid lane, push this out, and maybe go for another attempt at this once they get to see if Team Liquid, or rather 100 Thieves, is responding with multiple members down here. But we have now reached the point where the 1-3-1 is starting, as LeBlanc is running to the bot lane to join Rise in lane, and the Aphelios goes to the mid lane. So this should favor 100 Thieves because they have better wave clear, but I think that Team Liquid have better gank setup in both lanes.
1-3-1 starting up. Jenkins now up there. Tenacity has been farming quite well. 1-0-1, has a CS lead against his lane opponent, which, let's be honest, it was to be expected when it comes to the Camille and GP matchup. Oh, now looking over down here in the bot lane, we're going to have a fight break out between the two mid laners. Harry's not getting the better of this one. Has to burn Flash to get out of the cannon barrage. Ryoma just bullies him right on out.
Rice does not mess around. Rice is a pretty beastly champion in the side lanes, and Harry thought he was the one doing all the hunting. He thought, oh yeah, I could get behind the Rise, and
I'm the assassin.
Not this game. There is Merc Treads on Rise, which is one of the most difficult things to deal with for the LeBlanc because he has more damage and more tankiness now, and that is problematic. You did get Tenacity's ultimate, but you also learned the harsh lesson that this Rise is now going to dominate LeBlanc in the side. So you need to now help the LeBlanc, and at the same time, you need to help Camille. Camille is also losing to the Gangplank, so the TL game plan hasn't really paid off, and right now it seems like 100 Thieves is going to be able to match side lanes more effectively, and with the Ziggs, they're also going to push in the mid lane, so I think 100 Thieves is in a really prime position right now that TL need to respond to with ganks. We absolutely have to see Ayla and Armeo assist these side lanes, or else they're going to bleed out.
Ooh, and a very fast engage coming out of Poom right onto Yan. Yan taking a whole load of damage, gets Satchel towards the side into the wall. Poom will grab that kill. 100 Thieves, they pull the trigger. They got control over the Rift Herald side, so they're going to grab that kill and grab Rift Herald.
That was an overextended Aphelios looking for... Okay.
Oh, still looking for more fun interaction to happen there. Poom can't do it too fast. The ultimatum catches him off guard. Only the Death Bomb to try and dissuade the attempt that's going to come out right now. Or the Rift Herald. Now Harry is the one in trouble. He fools them with the clone! Harry! Why you gotta do him like that? Breaking his ankles as he heads back to base.
You know, he feels good about breaking his ankles, but at the same time, he knows he's hard losing this lane. So this is the best win he can get for this, because it does not feel good. Ryoma is now pushing the wave and denying minions. LeBlanc just can't TP down here, so 100 Thieves is doing so much work this game. TP's coming in from 6, but Rise is joining too. A fight's trying to break out.
Oh, and Shelly resets as well. Teleports in. Here come all 5 members of 100 Thieves. They chase away Team Liquid. Team Liquid not able to do much. They're now zoned out. The Cannon Barrage did a lot of work there with 3 members strong. They don't want to challenge this. Rift Herald will go over to 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves really wanted that Rift Herald. They committed a lot for this, but I don't know if that's worth it. Team Liquid now has a win condition in their own hands with their dragon stacking. So good ward in the mid lane to actually see. I mean, what is this, my man? You taking turret shots by yourself? There's no vision? That's just an overextension.
And what an old school engage too. That long range engage that we used to see out of Rakan's before they changed his interaction where he can't use his ultimate around the same time as his knockup. Now, he just uses it right before the knockup, finds the engage, made it look so clean. And speaking of engages, we got one over on the top side. Gonna be able to grab a kill onto Bob Jenkins. 100 Thieves to start this fight. Harry teleports in, but he does not want to be here. Canvey punishes that outright. Joining the fray, it's going to be Armeo. Going golden will be Luger. He'll be able to flash away. Has some backup. Ryoma's waiting in the wings. 100 Thieves, they play it very calculated. Lots of low health bars, but they're going to be rewarded with the turret.
Yeah, and that is the turret that they committed to playing on from that Rift Herald. They had so much desire to get that first Rift Herald because they wanted to play to the side lanes more, to get even more gold into the pockets of the Rise and the Gangplank. And so this is why Canvey finds himself behind Jenkins, and he's winning this fight, which just shows you how far ahead 100 Thieves is. The fact that the Camille is losing to the Lee Sin 1v1, being a level down, is really a dangerous sign for 100 Thieves. Great barrel chain immediately starting from Tenacity that just gets the LeBlanc chunk as soon as she joins the party. And then another outplay. It's Olaf's biggest nightmare. Champions with Flash, as almost everybody in League of Legends carries it. And with his Ghost, he just cannot continue to chase. He doesn't have enough damage. They're going after Ryoma. Oh, he's dead.
Ryoma gets caught by the chains. Makes it look easy. This is a kill going over to Jenkins. Getting the second kill of the game. It's definitely going to be some reprieve as we head over towards the 20-minute mark. 7-6 in kills, favoring 100 Thieves. They do have that 3K lead. Now, Team Liquid, they feel it going on their side as they go for the engagement. Ooh. But look at the ultimate from Luger. It landed on nearly the entire team and turns this team fight around. Watch Team Liquid run as Poom chases them down. Jan gets hunted. Elia gets hunted. Only Harry survives as 100 Thieves outright slaughter Team Liquid in the team fight.
You think you can kill Ryoma and the 100 Thieves won't get upset at it? Well, you're wrong. 100 Thieves had everybody there to avenge this rise, and they are gonna get an inhibitor turret for it. It was a huge punishment. Team Liquid felt like they had an advantage since Ryoma is so strong that they could continue to go for more, but 100 Thieves was lying in wait. The Camille ultimate doesn't really have anybody to follow up. This isn't like it has a Ziggs or a Galio behind it. The Ziggs is on the enemy team. And so when she commits, there's just no way to follow up. I think, in fact, even caught on to Poom, which is not the ideal target to go after. And so Team Liquid overextends, trying to follow up on the pick that was just not going to happen. And they get blown up. That was a beautiful Ziggs ultimate.
Yeah, I want to see a replay of that Mega Inferno bomb, because that, oh my god, I think it hit 4 members, might have hit all 5, but that was devastating. And speaking of devastation, we got some going on right here. I'm sorry, Armeo, this is the later stages of the game. Olaf can no longer do those nasty duels that we've seen in the early games, and Kenvi will take down the jungler, have a strong advantage as he starts posturing up towards Baron.
Oh yeah, that's a free Baron. There is not a big threat of a steal here. Kenvi is 6-0, he's so strong. He knew there was never any chance of dying, too, right? He's got a stopwatch. He knows that there's no problem and has Flash. So, 100 Thieves forcing the Baron. Team Liquid can maybe go for a steal with the LeBlanc, but a fight is sure to be a disaster here. Let's see what they try, though.
This is way too risky. Jenkins instead is going to go on the back line behind the Baron pit. Fight breaks out in front of the Baron pit. Fight also breaking out. Harry is able to back up, and so is Ayla. Both running critically low. Kenvi bringing the pain as Baron goes down over to 100 Thieves' pocket. Now Jenkins trying to find the way out, will be able to dodge the resonating strike. Hook comes out, does not land on the Kenvi. Here comes the cannon barrage. Poom looks to turn it around, but is only going to do a little bit of harassment. 100 Thieves, they got the Baron. Now it's starting to look good for them. Hopefully no more slip-ups as we take a look at that fight earlier. And Luger's big bomb.
And everyone got
everyone.
It's a 6-man Ziggs ultimate, because it caught the LeBlanc. Too. That's actually the largest LeBlanc or Ziggs ultimate you could ever get.
Hexa ult.
I wish we had that for pentakills. You try to get him where people are spawning, but it's not there, sadly.
In the old days, they used to say legendary kill when you would go above a pentakill.
Well, this is a legendary advantage the 100 Thieves has right now. The TL is really going to try to overcome here. They're maybe trying to catch up to Kenvi, but he's so slippery.
Fully sin. Hard to get onto him. As now 100 Thieves, they have a lot on their flank. Harry over the wall, gets a little bit of poke damage onto Ryoma, but the damage is being returned big onto Jan. Jan tries to back out. Poom's going to be able to catch him. First Ayla drops. Now Team Liquid in complete retreat. Jan can do not much but just die at the hands of Tenacity. 3 down for Team Liquid. 100 Thieves just own the team fight.
I thought game 1 was going to be confidence boosting for Team Liquid, but it just made 100 Thieves upset. They are not okay with the way that they lost that game. They probably felt like that was a win that they had let slip, and they are not going to let that happen again, because this is complete statement.
Wow.
It just crushed Team. This is an under 25 minutes game. They might even get it in under 24. They just crushed.
Oh, they're looking to close this one out, and there is the ace. Jan will be joining, and so will Jenkins as they try to attempt this defense. Keep in mind, there's a lot of damage that can come out really fast from Ziggs if he's able to get one of those autos in, but here comes Team Liquid joining the fight. We'll go after Ryoma. First one to fall. Flash forward coming up Yan. He's able to grab another one. Still landing in those autos, but Kenvi is going to shut that down right here, right now. Scores the kill onto Yan, focuses back onto the Nexus. Falling to about half health as Armeo joins the fight, but the Nexus is exposed, baby. Can't leave it for like that too long. 100 Thieves will take game number 2, evening this up.
Dude, Kenvi's Lee Sin is so good. This Lee just hard smurfed this game.
God.
And the game plan was around topside because they banned out Jenkins. They first picked the Lee Sin and played around it, diving it constantly, defending mid when they had to. And once the Lee got ahead, there was just no coming back. Mechanically, Kenvi just shone all game long. And that's why this champion is so difficult to judge. To know exactly where he is on anyone's meta is entirely dependent on how good you are. A Lee Sin on Kenvi, yeah, you might want to ban that. A Lee Sin for someone who can't land those Qs between minions, can't ward hop and find the ways to outplay the LeBlancs. That's really not a champion that you even need to consider picking. But Team Liquid now has to really think about the priority for this pick because they had it in the first game. It wasn't first picked by them, and they did win. 100 Thieves looks so different in the second one. I think this is one of the patterns that is starting to develop in this series. So far, Lee Sin has won both games.
Yeah, it makes me so excited watching Kenvi on Lee Sin because I've seen him in the amateur scene. I've seen 100 Thieves next and the things he's able to do on that champion. It is nasty, and just looking at his stats pretty much tells you why you shouldn't give this man Lee Sin. He has the most kills and most assists out of any Academy jungler in the regular season. He takes a lot of resources from his squad, but he puts in the work. He is the most active jungler. Giving him a jungler like that is asking for a hard time, and that's what Team Liquid were dealt. They fought their hardest, but 100 Thieves, they look like they have a statement to make. We're going to throw over to short break. When we return, Kangas and the Analyst S will catch you up on that game number 2.